As-Salaam everyone, and welcome back to my channel, and welcome if you are new. So today I wanted to do a video on, well, it's mostly for, but I wanted to do a video for new Muslims. You know, people who are just converted to Islam, because I know during Ramadan, mashallah, a lot of people do convert to Islam. And this Ramadan I have encountered some sisters who are new, so they are new Shahadah. So this is a new Shahadah video, and so honestly I just wanted to share some tips, and I also, of course, you know I'm always sharing books, so I wanted to share some books as well that I think that may be beneficial. So I really wanted to make this video because I feel like sometimes the new Shahadas or new Muslim women, they don't really have anyone to turn to or talk to or learn from. You know, like sometimes they're literally alone. They may be the first Muslim in their family, so they feel alone. You know, so they track themselves away and they feel like they can't ask for help or ask questions or depend on anyone. So this video is to help new Shahadas, just to give, you know, some tips and some books to read. So those are your resources that you can turn to. The first tip I want to share is ask questions. It is so important to ask questions, because we have to remember, if you ask questions, you're asking because you don't know. And when you really want to find out something, you ask questions, just like you ask for directions to get somewhere that you've never been to before. So in a way, you're discovering Islam as a new Muslim, as a new Shahada, because you converted because you wanted to be Muslim, but also in this religion, you have to learn certain things. You know, you gotta learn the 5 pillars, and there's other things that you have to learn about the religion. But if you don't ask questions, you will not learn anything. And you can't be scared when it comes to asking questions. Like, you can't. Like, I know when I was younger, I didn't want to ask questions. I was scared to ask questions. But I saw when I started asking people questions and asking my mom questions, I learned something. It taught me something. So it is so important to ask questions. And even the Prophet, peace be upon him, he used to encourage people to ask questions because it eliminates ignorance. You know, it eliminates ignorance because you're educating yourself and you're knowing something. And once you learn something, you're obtaining knowledge, and it is essential to obtain knowledge in Islam. So don't ever hesitate to ask anyone a question. So the second thing is be patient. You gotta be patient with this whole process. This is something totally new to you, so you have to be patient and you have to take your time. I know it may be a little frustrating when, you know, you don't have praying all the way down, when you don't really know how to make dua, when you don't really know how to do certain things that are important with being Muslim. Listen, that stuff, it takes time. It takes time, and you really just have to sit back, breathe, and be patient with yourself, and don't be so hard on yourself. This is something new to you, like I said, and it's just like, look at this. Let's say you just started baking. The first time you bake, you almost burnt down the house. You burnt the pan. The stuff got stuck to the pan the next time. You forgot to put some in it, so the recipe went bad. All those tries, okay? Because you have not mastered that skill of baking, because you just started to learn how to bake. It's the same thing with Islam. It's going to take time, and you're going to have to keep trying and trying and trying until you get it. You're not going to master something the first time you do it, okay? And that's something that we have to understand as well, that once we try to do something new, we're not going to master it on the first time, you know? So just be really, really mindful of that. So be patient with yourself, okay? Because it does get frustrating, and people have told me that it is frustrating that they don't know how to do certain things. And I always just tell them, you have to be patient with yourself and try to not be so hard on yourself. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He knows your intentions, okay? He knows your intentions, and He knows your intentions are good, that you want to be a good Muslim, and that you want to learn all these things about being Muslim. So really, really just try to be patient with yourself. Tip number 3. I would say tip number 3 would be try to have Muslimas as friends. Okay, I feel like it is so important to have companions. Alright, to have companions, because that really increases the sisterhood and it makes it grow, and sisterhood is so beautiful in Islam. And we have to remember that we are sisters in Islam, so we should always be kind to one another, not to backbite about one another or slander each other or be in groups of gossip. Like, those things just aren't good for us. We want to try our best to always be kind to someone, to always try to help someone out, to always advise someone if they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing, you know, because that's going to benefit that person. And that's another thing. You want to have people who are going to benefit you and remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the religion. That is so important, because if they're not reminding you of Allah or of the religion, then it's like, it's honestly a wasteful friendship, you know, because they're telling you all these other things that don't matter, you know, and that's not good for you. So you always want to have people in your circle who remind you of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I would say the second thing is have righteous friends. Like, no one's perfect, okay? No one is perfect, but the righteous friend is someone you really want to keep in your company, because your friends or companions are a reflection of yourself. So that is something to always remember and be mindful of. You can get friends on social media, or whoever helped you take your Shahadah, or whoever inspired you to take your Shahadah. Try to always keep in contact with them so they can help you, and so you can ask your questions, and so they can really help you in this new step in your life and your journey. Okay, so the last tip number 4, I would say, is learn about covering and learn about hijab. I say this because as Muslim women, we are supposed to cover. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to cover. Even the Prophet, peace be upon him, talked about covering as well. The women during the Prophet time used to cover. You know, they used to cover, and there were so many hadiths and verses on the woman covering as well. Like, it's legislated, you know, that is something that we have to do as a Muslim woman. So it's really important to learn about covering. When you learn about covering, you really start to understand it, and you start to understand why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded us to cover. Now, I know it may be difficult, because I know, like, before you probably converted, you probably used to wear makeup outside, you probably used to wear perfume outside, you had your hair done, you had on clothes that would, like, you know, really show your figure, you probably wear high heels and stuff. In Islam, you're not supposed to do any of that outside. So it's like, wow, I can't do any of these things outside. But understand why you can't do any of those things outside. So for one, that is Tabarruj. Tabarruj is something that is really normalized nowadays, and inshallah it decreases, but it is something that we shouldn't be doing, you know, in the Muslim community, because it's not something that's good for us, you know. And plus, we're beautifying ourselves and going outside. Allah said that's off limits, basically. So once you really understand all of that, you'll come to an understanding of why we have to cover. And I really hope you fall in love with covering, because honestly, I feel like everyone is so beautiful when they cover. And I'm not saying you have to cover like me. I'm not saying you have to wear gloves. I'm not saying you have to wear niqab, but you at least have to wear your hijab and the overgarment. And if you're just starting off with wearing hijab, try to wear modest clothes. Modest clothes, basically, that aren't fitted to your body, that's not going to show your figure, that's going to be like, you know, like something that's not going to accentuate your figure and show it in any way, because we're not supposed to show our figure. We're supposed to cover it. We're supposed to dress modestly. But if you're just starting off with a hijab, okay, cool, you know, you're taking baby steps. But as long as you try to cover modest, that's what really matters. And eventually you'll get to an overgarment, a abaya, a jilbab, you know, you'll get to all of that, you know. Take your time, but also remember, you have to cover. That is something to always remember, because, you know, you don't want to be displeasing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We want to please Allah. And when you cover more, or when you cover in general, you please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Let's get into the books. So the very first book is The Pillars of Islam and Iman. This is a really good book, because it really goes over everything that a Muslim needs to know, and it has so many good things in here. I'm just gonna read some of the contents. Like, boom, the first thing it talks about is Tawheed and the factors which nullify faith in Islam. It goes over the pillars of Iman, the meaning of La ilaha illallah, and then the next chapter is the book of purification, then the book of Salah, prayer, the book of Siyam, fasting, which is very important right now because it's Ramadan. But those are some examples that are in the contents. Well, not examples, those are some chapters that are in this book, and it's very, very, very good. Like, I really recommend this book. And plus, it's easy to read, it's easy to understand. And when you do first convert, you want books that are easy to read and easy to understand. And when you read these books, make sure you take notes. Always, always take notes. Write in your book, put some sticky notes in it. You're going to learn so much, okay, when you do that, because you're really trying to break down the text and understand what it's saying. So it's so important to do that. But yes, this is the first book, and I'm going to list all the books in the description box below. Next book, this book is Important Lessons for Muslim Women. So my Ummi, she gave this to me and my sister when I was in high school. I believe it was my freshman year. You can definitely tell that it's my book because of the sticky notes and the peace signs and the highlighter and stuff like that. But, so I'm going to read one thing from the back. It says, seeking knowledge is a duty upon every Muslim, male or female. The type of knowledge that each individual must learn varies according to the needs. Women also need knowledge to fulfill their duties in accordance with the teaching of Islam, but they find it difficult to seek the knowledge because of moral condition and modesty restrictions. Okay, so that's just the gist of it in the back. But this is a really good book because this book is important lessons, but it's important lessons for Muslim women. So this book is for the women, and the audience is the women of the books that are going to be the readers. So I feel like this book is very important. In general, you should want books in the beginning that pertain to the women, because you are a woman and it's important to know certain things as a woman. But yeah, so this is a great book and I definitely recommend this book. So the next book is A Hand Through the Door from My New Muslim Sister, and this book is written by a female and she is from America, and her name is Yasmin bin Ismail. Now, everyone has told me such good things about this book. I haven't read it myself, but I feel like it is a great book for a new Shahadah to have. And also, this book is written by a Muslim sister, and when we have books written by Muslim sisters, we're able to relate to them in so many ways. And I feel like it is so important to read books from Muslim sisters, because they can really relate to you in different ways. Like, we may not all go through the same exact thing, because guess what, everybody's story is different, but there are so many things that we can relate to because we are Muslim women, you know. But she really goes over everything, and it's just a great book to have for a new Shahadah. Like, she literally goes over everything. If she wanted to back up anything she says, she refers back to the Quran and Sunnah, which is always good to refer back to. And the last book is, I cannot say this word right at all, so please bear with me, but a treatise on hijab. Now, this book is really good because it just doesn't go over hijab and what is hijab and conditions of hijab and why we have to wear hijab. It goes over a lot of things like Taburruj. It talks about cold, it talks about beautification, it talks about a lot of things. It talks about what the Muslim woman can wear, and the best part of the book is it's very easy to read and understand. When I was reading the book, I was like, this would be a great book for a new Muslim sister, and it's a great book, and the cover and everything is so cute. I am a sucker for some cute book covers, okay? I really am. Like, that'll make me grab the book. But yeah, so this is really a recommended book. Please get the Noble Quran, and this is in the English language, and this is really good. I feel like everyone should have this book because when Arabic isn't your first language, you know, it'll be hard to understand. So you want to be able to have some English so you can actually be able to understand, to grasp it, to comprehend. So it's really great to have this. And another Quran is great to have is a Tajweed Quran, and that Quran usually just has Shazama in it, and it has phonetics, and it helps you really read Arabic. Now eventually you're going to have to learn Arabic because Arabic is the language of Islam. We have to learn Arabic to read the Quran, and the Quran is the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so you want to really be able to understand that. I really hope it helps and it is beneficial to you all, and always remember, please be kind to yourself and be patient with this whole process, and may Allah continue to guide you in Islam. Ameen Allahumma ameen. And you guys, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. As-Salaam Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.